So I am actually test driving a new vehicle right now. And I'm going to give you a little tour. I'm using the Insta360 One X2. And this is the GMC Sierra 1500 AT4. This is a 2021. I have never purchased a brand new vehicle before. And I don't know if I ever will, but it sure is fun to try this. This is a beautiful vehicle. Pickups these days are more of a luxury vehicle than anything. So yeah, I'm just considering it. I don't know if I'm going to get it or not. If I do get it, I'll put it at the end of the video because I have to decide by the end of today because there's like 4 other people that are interested in this and it's hard to get one. But we're going to talk about the Insta360 One X2 camera and also my journey of going from someone who would never ever buy or recommend a 360 camera to someone who is now a big fan for many reasons. Let's take you through that journey. This is not going to be a full review of the Insta360 One X2, a detailed review or tutorial, anything like that. But basically, I'm going to tell you like some of my favorite things about the One X2 and some of the things that I don't like about it. And hopefully you guys will have a better idea for yourselves if it's something you want to get for yourself. So I love this thing. Let's take a look at the back seat real quick. 360 camera. I'm giving you a virtual tour right now, and that is one of the cool things about this camera. So anyway, let's check out the camera. Wow, what a nice truck. I don't think I'm gonna get it. It's a little expensive, and I just can't bring myself to buy a new vehicle. Like when you drive it off the lot, you basically lose, I don't know, at least 10% of the price. So anyway, I might continue my search, but who knows? Maybe they'll give me a better deal on my trades. So anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the Insta360 One X2 camera. Now, if you asked me a year ago what I think of 360 cameras, it would have been a short conversation. It would have been, I don't like them. They are cheesy. But then last winter, a few of my subscribers convinced me to give them a try. One gentleman in particular from Wales just kept bugging me constantly about them. You see, the reason he likes 360 cameras so much is because a while back, he had a traumatic brain injury. So life is a little more challenging for him in many different ways. But having a 360 camera allows him to capture everything around him without having to worry about what he's pointing it at. And that's the ultimate advantage to these cameras. You edit the footage afterwards by using the free, very fun Insta360 app. So I finally did reach out to Insta360 and they let me review the Insta360 One R, which made me realize that these cameras do have a place, and that place is for fun. Therefore, recording the best moments in your life and then taking that footage and seeing how creative you can be with it. 360 cameras for me were like how snow tubing was for my youngest boy. You see, the first time we went, he was not looking forward to it at all. He didn't know what to expect, so he had his own negative opinions about it. He argued and he was crabby about it the whole way there. After one run down the hill, he was hooked, and now he loves it and he wants to go more. So that's how I was with these cameras. I didn't take the time to know what to expect, and so I just kept passing them off. Then I tried them a few times, and now I'm hooked. So today we're talking about the One X2. It's my second 360 camera, and it has furthered my interest in this trending aspect of videography. They are becoming more popular because the technology is getting better. I have 7 things that I love about the One X2, and then there's 4 opportunities for improvement that I think they could do in their future cameras. First, the design and the form factor is great. After getting the One X2, I knew immediately why the original One X was so popular with 360 fans. And you're gonna laugh when you hear me say this, but it really does feel good in the hands. The rubber shell and the solid feel makes me feel like I'm truly holding a quality piece of technology. It fits into any pocket, and that has led to me carrying it with me more than I ever would, like the One R or any GoPro or anything like that. And I think that's the biggest benefit of this camera because, as you know, the best camera is the one that you have with you, and there's no end to what you can capture with this camera because you'll always have it with you. It goes anywhere. Next, the battery life is really good on the One X2. It's got a 1630 milliamp hour battery. And although I haven't let it run continuously from 100% down to 0%, I have used it all day while playing in the snow, towing the kids around with the 4-wheeler, and then taking it to the hills and going snow tubing. And at the end of the day, I still had almost half a battery left. So super, super good battery on this thing. I love the Insta360 app. Editing with it at first was a little intimidating, but after making just a couple of video clips with it, I was able to understand everything more clearly. It's a different kind of workflow than I'm used to. It's not a typical editing program. It's something new because you have so many different angles to choose from to decide what you're going to put in your final cut. But that's the greatest benefit of these cameras. There's no need to point it at the action. You just hit record, you hold it up, you go about your business, have your fun, and then later on you can go in and look at the footage and then focus on what you want to focus on. It allows you to actually enjoy the moments that you're experiencing and then later go in and record those moments and then experience the best parts of those moments later on. The One X2 is waterproof for 10 meters, and that is key for me because my family enjoys water activities in the summer and snow activities the other 7 or 8 months out of the year around here. So I can use this camera in those conditions and I never have to worry about it being ruined. The stabilization is amazing on this camera. Yes, the Hyper Smooth is really good on the Hero 9 Black, like the best ever. But keep in mind, the footage from the One X2 is stabilized in all directions. And that's what makes this really fun for use on your drone. Now I've mounted this on both my Mavic 2 Pro and my Mavic Air 2. When I had it on my Mavic 2 Pro, I had got, there's a little mount you can get from PGY Tech, and then I mounted it on top of this, and I got some great footage using it that way. The disadvantage is if you're doing like a tiny planet, you're gonna see the drone in the shot, and I guess that kind of looks cool like sometimes, but if you want to get a really cool tiny planet, you hang this below your drone. And I did that with the Mavic Air 2. I got this pretty cheap, it looks like a 3D printed bracket for my Mavic Air 2, and then I hung the camera below it, went out to the Trestle Valley Bridge, and got some fun footage with that. Now the disadvantage of having that bracket, it swings back and forth if you're moving the drone too quickly. So you just have to make sure you move real slow if you're using this and that bracket. Also on windy days, I don't think it would work real well because the wind is gonna make this rock back and forth. But I'll put a link for that bracket down in the description. If you have a Mavic Air 2, and then you're gonna get a 360 camera, whether it be this one or any other one, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. It almost looks like a FPV drone. However you mount this to your drone, just be very, very careful. Make sure that it is secured. You don't want your expensive 360 camera crashing to the ground from 300 feet up in the air. The touchscreen on the One X2 is wonderful. Every GoPro that I've owned is terrible. And even the 1R, even the Insta360 1R screen, I have to tap it multiple times to get it respond. The One X2, I don't know what they did differently with this screen, but not one time has it not responded to my touch. And that's so great. I know it's minor, it seems minor, but when you're trying to maneuver through the user interface and you have to keep tapping it, it's so frustrating. I've never had that frustration with the One X2. So the touchscreen and then being able to just maneuver around the touchscreen to see the point of view, that's really cool as well. And I know that's a huge upgrade from the original One X. I know people that had the One X and now have the One X2 really appreciate this touchscreen. One more quick positive about this camera, also kind of a negative, but it shoots 3K at 100 frames per second for slow motion. So it's not 120 or 240 like a lot of other cameras or even your smartphone. But if you have plenty of light, like on bright sunny days, the slow motion out of here, really, really good. It just does not work very well in low light conditions. So that is kind of my first negative. If you're gonna use the slow motion on here, just make sure that you have plenty of light. Otherwise it looks really grainy. Hey, real quick, if you're getting any value from this video, click on that thumbs up button right now. And then also subscribe for future videos like this. Although this channel is primarily about drones and drone related stuff, this is gonna tell me if you guys like this video and if you subscribe because of this video, that's gonna tell me that, hey, you guys are interested in this stuff too. Like this is gonna be probably another hobby of mine. So I just wanna know, should I share it on my channel or not? If not, if you guys will let me know, that's totally fine. But if you do like it and you wanna see more stuff, more in-depth stuff on these 360 cameras and future cameras, just let me know and I'll continue to do these videos. Now, the negatives here, the low light performance, I already talked about slow motion, doesn't work well in low light. The low light performance overall in the One X2, still not great. It's a little better than the 1R, but they still got some work to do with the low light and the dynamic range. It is a little bit better than dynamic range of the 1R, but I think, I'm not an expert on this, but I think it's because they made it a little more sharp. Like it looks like the footage is sharper than the 1R footage. And then also it's a little more saturated, which I think is kind of nice. I like a little more saturation on my videos. It's pretty flat when you compare it. It doesn't look flat if you just look at the 1R footage by itself, but when you put it side by side with the 1X2, it does look a little more saturated. So I kind of like it. Another negative, and I know we can't get away from this, but with 360 cameras, it's got the protruding lenses, very easily broken, very easily scratched. At least with the 1R, it sits down like a normal action camera, so it's not very likely to tip over. The 1X2, if you have it sitting on the end, it's going to tip over because it's top heavy. Just make sure that you're using a tripod of some type, or you have this mounted in some other way. But if you're going to get the 1X2, this is a must. It's a little rubber boot, slips right over the top. It's super cheap and it protects your very expensive camera. The other thing is, if you're going to be using this in rough conditions, you're going to be throwing it around a lot. They do have lens protectors that you can get, also relatively inexpensive when you compare it to the price of the camera. The last thing, and it's not really a disadvantage, but it's more of a limitation with the 1X2 as compared to the 1R, and that's that this camera is strictly a 360 camera. Yes, you can set it to shoot 150 degrees on one camera, but you don't get this for that. You get this because it's a 360 camera and you're going to be using it as a 360 camera. So if you want something that does more than 360, then I would consider getting the 1R, because you can use it as a 360 or a straight up 4K video camera, or you can get the 1-inch mod if you want to get stuff that looks a little more professional. You want your footage to have high dynamic range and just look better overall. Get the 1-inch mod on the 1R. So one thing that I should probably talk about is the audio on these cameras, like when you compare the 1R to the 1X2. So here is the audio of the 1R, and I've never been happy with any of the audio out of any of these cameras, any of the action cameras. Now the GoPro Hero 9 Black is actually pretty good, but as far as the Insta360, none of them are really good. Now here's the audio from the 1X2. It's supposed to be a little bit better with the 4 microphones. It's actually got a microphone on each side of the camera, which is supposed to help a little bit with the wind, but I haven't noticed any difference when you compare it to the 1R. So as far as audio, they still have a long way to go, and I don't know if we're ever going to see good audio coming from one of these cameras, but hopefully someday. Now, one other thing with the Insta360 app, they have some very fun effects that you can apply to your footage. They add interest and entertainment to all your videos, and they keep adding more all of the time. And you can just take the same video clip and apply different effects to that same clip. So there's endless opportunities to be creative with what you're capturing. My 3 favorites out of these effects are the shadow clone, the fly through, and then the bullet time. I love the bullet time. My kids love the bullet time. And you can't do that with any other camera than these Insta360 cameras. Again, these effects are kind of gimmicky, but I think that's the idea, you guys. 360 video and 360 photos are meant to be fun and interesting, and they allow you to be more creative with your videos. And I think the critics of them, like I was, just need a paradigm shift, just like I had. Not everything has to look like a professional movie. Sometimes people just want to actually have fun with their cameras. And that's why I've changed my tune on 360 cameras. So if you're thinking about getting one of these great cameras, there are links down in the video description. Go ahead and click on those to learn more about them or to purchase them for yourself. Let me know in the comments, what would you use a 360 camera for? Maybe you're getting into real estate photography. That's really becoming popular. That's also trending right now. So just let me know in the comments what you would use one of these for. Hopefully I gave you some value in this video. If I did, click on that thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching the entire video today, everyone. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Oh, I bet you're wondering if I bought that pickup. Well, obviously I didn't, but it is still here. It's still sitting there, teasing me. And well, I guess we'll come back tomorrow and see if they can make a little better deal on it. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. See you later.